So hello everybody, and thank you for joining us at Options Night. My name is Michelle Fankhauser and I'm an English teacher here at Lake Stevens High School. We are really glad to see you all here tonight. I teach a couple of our AP college and high school offerings, and for the last 3 years I've had the pleasure of collaborating with Mr. Alderson on Options Night, and our goal tonight is bringing students and their families information about how students can earn college credit while taking classes at Lake Stevens High School. First, going to let my fellow panelists introduce themselves, and then I'll go over some logistics for tonight, and we'll get started. Mr. Alderson.
Hi folks, my name is Dan Alderson. I'm one of the associate principals here at the high school, and I work pretty closely with the AP college and the high school kind of advanced course offerings. And like Michelle said, I've had the opportunity over the last couple of years to work with her in presenting this information to you, hopefully, so we can go ahead and get folks some really good information about if AP college and high school courses are good for you. And if you choose that path, kind of where to go from there. Thanks for being here.
Miss Ivelia.
Good evening, folks and Viking families. My name is Leslie Ivelia, and I always get the opportunity to say I'm a proud Viking family member and the principal here at the high school. As Dr. Fankhauser explained, they've been working for the last 3 years to bring options nights to our students and families. And it's been just a true pleasure to watch Michelle and Dan grow this material and information. So I really thank you for being here tonight. We hope that all the information that will be provided and shared will help you have just the opportunity to make the option you need that's best for both you and your student and your family. Thank you again for being here. We do wish that we could do this in person, but since we can't, we appreciate you joining us virtually.
Thank you. So tonight we're going to start by presenting some information, and I would ask that if you have any questions, you just jot them down on a piece of paper for now. It's very possible that we'll answer your questions as we speak tonight. Bubble that says Q&A, and that's where you will type your questions, but please don't do so yet. I'll let you know when it's time to type your questions in. And then at that point, we'll be answering your questions in both live and written form. And just to note that if you have questions that are specific to your son or daughter's schedule, it's best to contact his or her counselor and work with them directly. And just ask more global questions here tonight that are more applicable to everybody, the subjects that we're talking about in the presentation. Like I said at the beginning, the presentation is being recorded and it will be posted on the LSHS website tomorrow. So if you know someone who couldn't make it or you can't stay for the whole thing, you'll be able to see that on our website. And I also want to point out that while we're talking, a presenter's image might be obscuring part of the presentation, but you can click on our image and drag it out of the way so you can see all of the information on the screen. And then finally, Mr. Alderson will have to leave to run to another webinar at 7:10. And if there are people that still have questions, I have another Zoom ready to open because he has to close this one and use it for his webinar. So we can adjourn to a different Zoom if there are still people here asking questions. And I'll put the link in the chat at that point. All right, so let's get started. Mr. Alderson, if you could please share our slides. All right, thank you. Next slide, please. So first question is, of course, why are we here? So we have a couple of considerations tonight. We have to think about some deadlines, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and also some decisions. A couple of decisions for you to make. By you, I'm addressing mainly you, the students that are here. I'm hoping that you're here because you're trying to think about making a decision about whether or not to register for college credit-bearing classes at the high school. And by those, I mean AP and college and the high school classes. And what I'm really hoping is there are some of you here because maybe you haven't taken classes like this before and you'd like some more information about them and to help you decide whether or not these are the right options for you. And I hope that you, by the end of tonight, understand that it's okay if you haven't taken classes like this before, that is not a barrier. to students taking AP in college and the high school classes. We're going to talk about some of the things that we think about when students want to make decisions about whether or not to take these classes. Next, we have to think about some deadlines. Mr. Alderson. Next slide, please. And of course, the most important of these deadlines is registration, which is either happening right now for you. If you are a current freshman at Cavallaro, an incoming sophomore, your registration is due tomorrow. So this is a decision that's on your mind. And if you are a current sophomore and junior at Lake Stevens High School, then your registration is done, but we have a caveat and some good news for you because you still have a little bit of time. And if after tonight you have gotten some new information and you think that you have a different decision and maybe some of these options are right for you, then you could email your counselor tomorrow, over the weekend, by Monday, and tell them you'd like to maybe make a change in your schedule for the fall, maybe set up a meeting with them and talk more. You still have some time to make a change request in your schedule for the fall. All right, Mr. Alderson. All right, so first of all, I want to talk about AP and college and the high school and the characteristics of both. I want to first point out that even though we have two columns on this slide, sometimes, in fact, pretty often we're talking about the same class. So I'm just going to give you an example of a class that I'll be using throughout this presentation, and it's a class that I teach and that I taught this fall, we call it AP Lang, and that stands for AP English Language and Composition, and it's our sophomore AP class. Now this class is offered both as an AP class and a college and the high school class. And we have several classes at the high school like this that are both AP and college in the high school. They're not all like this. Sometimes they're one or the other, but often you're going to take a class where you have a choice and they're offered as both. So I'm going to talk about some of the central characteristics that are the same about both and then how they're different. So first of all, both offer rigorous coursework. We're talking about classes that are offered for college credit or placement. So we're talking about college level coursework at the high school level. So that is rigorous coursework. Because of that, the staff that teach these classes have been vetted either by the College Board for AP classes or by the college offering the credit, Everett Community College or the University of Washington. Their credentials and education level have been vetted in order to be able to teach these classes. They're both used for college admissions, which we'll talk about in a minute. They're both used for placement, which we will also talk in a minute. We're going to talk more about the terms admissions, placement, and credit. But then we start to notice some differences. And if you could just reveal the rest of the slide, Mr. Alderson. So I'm going to talk about AP first. If you, say, take a class and choose to pay for the AP exam and take the AP exam, you are going to be paying about $100 for that AP exam. The AP exam, if you pass it, offers you either placement or college credit or both. Again, I'll explain this a little bit more as we move through the presentation. And whether or not you receive that placement or credit is based on that single exam. And that's a 3-hour exam. Those happen in May. And so you take that class in order to prepare for the exam, and the exam determines whether or not you earn the credit and or the placement. College and the high school works a little bit differently. You would choose, instead of paying for the exam, to pay for, register and pay for college credit through either Everett Community College or the University of Washington. And you would then be enrolled as a student at one of these colleges through Lake Stevens High School, but you're taking your class right on our campus. And instead of an exam, whether or not you earn that credit is based on how you do in the class. It's the totality of your experience, and your grade at the end of the course determines whether or not you earn the credit. So you pass the course, it's just like a college class. You pass the course, you earn the credit. And that helps you with your placement, college, and also earning the credit. And you'll see an 86% transfer rate there on the right-hand column. And what this refers to is the ability of transferring your credit to a college after high school. And the University of Washington released a study that shows that on average, 86% of the credit that students earn in college and the high school courses transfer nationwide after high school. It's a really high percentage at public colleges, between 87 and 96%. And at private colleges, it's between 78 and 80%. So that brings us to that 86% average. So you take your credit and you transfer it to the college that you attend after high school. But I want to go into a little more depth about those terms: admissions, placement, and credit, and how those things work a little bit differently based on whether you choose AP or college in the high school. So next slide, please, Mr. Alderson. All right, so admissions is just that process a college goes through in deciding which applicants to accept or admit to their school. And AP and college and high school both offer significant benefits here. When you take these classes, they allow you to distinguish yourself. They tell the college that you're applying to that you have pushed yourself into taking some rigorous coursework, to going beyond just general classes, and that whether it's AP or college in the high school, you have done something kind of above and beyond. And this is something that colleges like to see. I will say that in the past, I think there was an idea that AP was kind of the gold standard for admissions, and that this is what colleges really wanted to see on transcripts. And I think there's really been a shift. I've been able to talk to admissions advisors from several colleges over the last couple of years and ask them if there's one they prefer to see over the other on a student's transcript. And what I'm hearing more and more is what they want to see is that a student push themselves in some way. And that whether it's AP or college in the high school, those both denote that. They both show that. So it's not that they're necessarily saying that one or the other is better. They both look very good on a student's transcript, and they're both great choices for a student to make. Okay, next slide, please, Mr. Alderson. Next up, we need to talk about placement. And I want to just preview that placement and credit are two different things. I'm going to talk about credit in a minute, but placement just means which level of the class the college is going to put you in or place you in, or they're going to place you. So I'm going to use my class AP Lang that I taught in the fall as an example here. AP Lang, if you were to take it as a college in the high school class and register for credit, you would earn credit for English 101. That's like the entry level English course. And so if you earned that credit, it would allow you to skip, quotation marks, that entry level college coursework when you get to college, because you have English 101 on your transcript already. You have a transcript from Everett Community College. It shows that you've taken the class. As long as you've passed the class, you transfer that credit to the college you're attending, and they say, oh gosh, look, you've taken English 101 already. You don't have to take it here. We can place you in the next level of the course. In the case of English 101, because it's a required class for all students, that's great news because you're getting one of those requirements out of the way. Depending on your major, it may be that you don't have to take another English class if you're going into engineering or something like that. So then that allows you to move on to upper level classes, start working in your major sooner than you would have because you've taken that class here at Lake Stevens High School. The AP exam, the good news for us in Washington State is that there is a law here basically that says that if you earn a passing score on an AP exam, that a college in Washington has to award you credit. So a passing score is a 3, 4, or 5. There's a caveat here. That's why you see the asterisk next to AP. So depending on the college and depending on the score, that will determine which class you earn credit for. So I'm going to go back to AP Lang, which again is the equivalent of English 101. If you earn a 3, which is the lowest passing score on the AP exam, it's possible that the college you attend will award you credit for an English elective, but not English 101. They might want you to earn a 4 or a 5 before they say you're proficient enough to earn the credit for the core class English 101. So you're still going to earn credit, but it might not be the credit you'd earn for college in the high school, and you still have to take English 101 when you get to that college. And that really is kind of determined by each of the colleges and the score that you earn on the exam. The other caveat is that not every state has this rule. So it's possible that you go to another state with your AP score and you've passed the AP exam. They're not going to award you credit. They will award you placement. They'll say, great, you did a great job. I'm going to place you in the next level of English. You won't have any credits on your transcript, but you will be in the next level of English. And the credits on your transcript are to your advantage, and we're going to talk about that next when we talk about credits, Mr. Alderson, because that's Mr. Alderson's smiling because he loves the polka bucket. It's his favorite slide. That's just that unit which colleges use to measure achievement. And so when you pay Everett Community College or the University of Washington, you pay them that money, $220 to EVCC, you're paying for 5 credits. It's a 5-credit class, and that goes on a transcript. So if we think of a degree as a bucket, a polka bucket, if you will, earning those credits starts to fill your bucket and create your college transcript before you're done with high school. It also does that for less money, because if you're spending $370 for 5 credits for a UW college in the high school class here at Lake Stevens High School, which is a lot of money, it's still a lot less than you'd be paying at the University of Washington. If you were there paying for 5 credits, it would be 4 times as much. So you're filling your bucket for less money here. Okay, next slide, please. And so the difference between placement and credit is that if you attend a school that awards you placement for a passing AP score, that's still great news. You'll be placed in a higher level class. You'll get to skip English 101 because you've already taken it, but you'll have no credits in your bucket. You'll still have to pay for all of them at the college level, where it's more expensive. Whereas if you are able to actually have credits on a transcript here in high school and begin there and start paying for some of them here at Lake Stevens High School, then you have credits on your transcript, your bucket is partly full, and your bucket is way less expensive, right? It costs much less money if you start filling it here. So those are some considerations to make when you think about AP versus college in the high school. Okay, next slide, Mr. Alderson. Oh, this is you. This is your favorite slide.
So, and just truthfully, the reason that I like the polka bucket so much is because I know it bothers Dr. Fankhauser so much. So I could take or leave the polka bucket, but bothering Dr. Fankhauser, that's priceless. So the purpose of this slide is just to kind of highlight for those of us who are a little bit more intrigued with math. If I were to go ahead and pay tuition at the institution on the left, how much that would be approximately. So for one class at EVCC, it would be $537. And don't worry, we're not going to go through the numbers on every column, every row. But if I were to go ahead and pay around $100 for the AP test and get the credit, I would have spent $100 so that I didn't have to spend the $537. Therefore, it saves me about $437 if I was to take, sorry, I was trying to show you on the screen, click on the screen, move this forward. I could save about $437 if I took the AP test and I was trying to not pay for that class at EVCC. So if I took college in the high school, depending on which university, like let's say I took the UW English as a senior and I didn't want to take, and therefore I didn't have to take English 101 at EVCC, it would only save me around $167. So not that big of a deal until we start getting into other schools like WWU or UW or Gonzaga, go Bulldogs. So we can see down there at Gonzaga, like the tuition for a 3-credit class is $42.80. Well, if I spend $100 on the AP test and I get the credit, I've saved over $4,000. And that's a chunk. And at this point, I just want everybody to know, EVCC, they're not paying us anything to do this. Like, you're looking at 3 folks on the screen right now who are in the middle of paying bills for kids going to school. So we're not talking to you out of like, hey, they're going to slip us something on the side. We're talking to you hopefully as folks who, we want you to be able to have the best experience for your kids. And we know that money doesn't grow on trees. So it is an important thing. So continuing on with the Gonzaga line, if I were to pay the college and the high school, let's just say for the EVCC, I'm going to take AP Lang through EVCC, and I don't need to take English 101 at Gonzaga. I've saved $4,060. And again, the bonus, I think, is that the certainty of the college and the high school credit versus the possibility of the credit with AP. And so Dr. Fankhauser's already spoken about that. Fank, this is you, right?
It is.
Okay.
Thank you. If you could just, there you go. Thank you. So we want to talk a little bit about what all of this looks like on a high school transcript. Because the way that these classes are transcripted currently in Washington, if your student, if you take one of these classes, your transcript will say AP College and the High School next to the class. That doesn't mean that you took the AP exam. It doesn't mean that you took that you registered for college and high school credit, because I want to make it clear that you could take a class like AP Lang and not take the exam and not register for college credit. You could just take the class. I want to also make clear we don't recommend that, because you are taking this advanced class and you are doing the same amount of work. There's no difference in the level of work that you're doing. So you're doing this college level work, and we would love for all students in these classes to earn credit or placement or something to acknowledge the work that they're doing. But it is possible, you are not required to take the exam or register for credit. Your transcript will say AP College and the High School next to it. So your college that you're applying to will see that you took this coursework, and it will help you in admissions, even if you don't take the exam and you don't earn the credit. But when you get to college, let's say you took AP Lang and you did really well and you earned an A, you get to college, you're going to have to take English 101 all over again, even though you took it and you earned that A already. You'll be really well prepared for it, but you'll have to take it over again because you won't have the credit for it, right? Same thing if you take the AP test or you take college and the high school credit, your transcript is going to say the same thing, but the difference is you'll be able to transfer that credit or that AP score to your college and be able to earn the credit or the placement. And just a note, I usually get questions about whether it's useful to students to do both. And I will say that in almost every case, the AP exam and the college and the high school credit are redundant. They're for the same course. So it's not really useful to do both things, because you're just going to be earning the same credit and you can't earn, you can't use both of those things. So there are almost no colleges that allow you to use both the AP scores and the college and the high school credits, right? So you can't kind of double dip in that way. So it really is important to think about which one you would choose if you take a class like this. Next slide, Mr. Alderson. All right, so here's your timeline. Right now, you are a student who's taking these courses or who is about to register for them. We hope you are one of those two things. And you're going to take these courses over the course of your high school career and accumulate credits. And I just want you to understand, Mr. Alderson is going to show you a slide towards the end where you can figure out all the classes that we offer that offer college and the high school credit. There are so many, and there are so many opportunities, and they are not all AP classes either. You don't have to take an AP class to earn college credit. There are CTE courses, language courses, all kinds of classes where you can earn college credit on our campus. My son, for example, is a senior at Arlington High School. He is going to graduate with 45 college credits. He has never left the campus. Those are all college and the high school credits. He has never taken an AP exam. And that is one full year of college done before he's graduating high school. And there are just as many opportunities at Lake Stevens High School. So You are taking these courses, you're accumulating them on transcripts, maybe from 2 or 3 different colleges. Maybe you have some scores with the College Board, all of these different places. And then your senior year, you're applying to colleges. You're going to tell the colleges you've taken these things, maybe send them some unofficial transcripts and let them know for admissions purposes that you've taken these challenge courses, and that's going to help you. Next, Mr. Alderson. Hopefully be accepted to every college you want to attend because you've taken all these classes and the colleges are so impressed with the fact that you've taken all this rigorous coursework. After you have decided which college you're going to attend, you've been accepted, you've enrolled, then you send your scores and your transcripts to the college. And what they do is they take a look at those scores, they evaluate your transcripts, and they say, okay, here's what we're going to do with those. Here's the credits we're going to award you. Here's what classes they're equivalent to. Here's how your AP scores translate. And they take all of those things and put them on their transcript, right? They start your transcript at your new college with everything you've already done, and you're already ahead of the game. Okay, so that's kind of your timeline here. So we're back to decisions. How should you choose? It's really important to think about who you are. So if we're talking about choosing between AP and college and the high school, you should really think about whether or not you're a good test taker. Right, because the AP earning credit through an AP exam is really dependent on that exam. It's a 3-hour test. You need to be a good test taker. And if you are, that could really be the way that you want to go. And there are also some classes that are AP only, and you got to be a good test taker, right, to earn the credit through those classes. So really think about what kind of student you are. Are you diligent? Are you someone who shows up in class and you're ready to learn? Are you someone who, doesn't like to be absent from class? I want to also stress to you that if you have not taken AP, honors, challenge, pre-AP, any of that before, it's okay. Like, that's part of our purpose tonight. These classes are open to everybody. There are some prerequisites, right? Especially for math and science, you got to talk to your counselors. When we're talking about English and history, especially at the high school, you can self-select in. You want to be smart about it. There's some things you want to think about, like what kinds of grades you've earned in those classes before, what kind of student you are. But just having taken them before is not a prerequisite for them. So if you're somebody who wants to challenge yourself, you're a good student, you like those subjects, you are college bound, you want to start your college transcript in high school, you're going on to college after high school, or you're not sure, you haven't decided yet, this is a really good opportunity for you to start earning those credits and be ahead of the game. I think there's some more things on this slide, Mr. Alderson. Yeah. So thinking about the kind of support you need from parents, from teachers, what kind of systems you have to set up for yourself to be organized to take these classes. Are there prerequisites for some of these classes? There definitely are. And just thinking about just what it means to be a good, strong student, because this is more rigorous coursework, and you need to be able to kind of challenge yourself and handle that. You also want to think about college level skills. Like, if you need help, are you comfortable asking a teacher for help? Are you comfortable reaching out like that? It's really important to be able to do that. We college and high school AP teachers don't expect every student to walk in and know all the stuff and be A students. That's not the deal. We would love for you to be able to ask us for help, though, and tell us what kind of support you need. That's what we're here for. That's a college level skill. So that's something that we work on in these classes too. We also want to think about the financial considerations. So obviously, these cost money. If you are taking 2 or 3 college and high school classes through EVCC, that adds up at $220 a piece. I know from experience from my own kids. And so there are some options to help you. Everett Community College offers payment plans. You don't have to pay it all in one chunk. And they also offer fee waivers. And Mr. Alderson, could you give them the information on fee waivers so that I know that it's being given out correctly?
Oh, well, correctly. Here, let me see if I can do that. So it was a year ago, so COVID has kind of done a number on the whole system. But as of a year ago, EVCC, as part of their annual budgeting process, laid aside $500,000, just $500,000, specifically for students that would need a fee waiver. And so that is something that when you apply to EVCC, because as you're getting a college and high school credit, you're working with Dr. Fankhauser and AP Lang. You're also enrolling to be an EVCC student. You reach out to EVCC's business services office and you ask them about a financial waiver, and they have quite a number of those waivers available for folks. It's part of their mission to go ahead and open that up. So I don't know the numbers for this year. My guess is that with the economy just kind of overall taking a hit, that number may have dropped, but I know that they are absolutely committed to making these classes accessible to folks and to removing barriers rather than adding them.
And I believe there's a fee waiver for the AP exam too, correct?
Absolutely. I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you. There is a fee waiver. There has been for the last several years in Washington State's budget. So thank your state reps and senators for continuing to provide that support for folks who need it.
Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, these next couple of slides, I'm just going to let you take a look at these when this is posted on the website, but I'll just say these are students of mine that graduated, I think it might be 2 or 3 years ago now, and they're wonderful. And they agreed to be interviewed to talk about benefits of taking these classes. So these are some students who took both AP and college and high school classes. And so you'll just see them answering some questions and giving some advice to students thinking about whether or not to take that step and take these courses. And they're really worthwhile for you to take a little bit of time and watch. All right, next slide. All right, so every college has a page on their website that will help you understand how AP exam scores transfer and what the equivalency is for credits and courses at their school. And so on this slide, there are some links to some of our most common colleges here in Washington State, but really you can go to any college's website, go to the search page and type in AP credit transfer or AP equivalency, and it will take you to the page on that college's site. And there what you'll see is, say you go take the AP Lang exam. So you'll go to the section for AP Lang and it will tell you if you score a 3, you will get 5 credits for this. If you score a 4, you will earn this. And sometimes if you score a 5 in a subject, you get 10 credits for something. It depends on the subject and the class and whatever. So it will, all of the colleges have that information. And so this is some research that you can do for colleges that you're interested in and you want to know how an AP exam score might transfer. Mr. Alderson, this is you.
Awesome. So once this presentation is posted onto the website, the link on the top there, the left, the courses that are offered as either AP or college and high school or both, it will link you directly to this document, which is a living document for us here at the high school. It's refreshed on an annual basis. And so it will just give you the name of the course. So there we have AP Bio. We offer that in alternate years with AP Environmental Science. It's an AP course. It is not connected with college and the high school, and it's not a CTE dual credit. But take, for example, 2 rows down, AP Calc AB, which is both an AP course and it is a college and high school course. So a student in that class could go ahead and choose to take the AP exam, which traditionally happens 2nd, 3rd, 4th week of May, or to apply for college and the high school through EVCC, pay a couple $100 and get the credit for the course at the end of for the grade at the end of the course. I think that's all on this slide. Oh, one other caveat is that this particular document, it does change from year to year, specifically because in the very beginning, remember when Dr. Fankhauser said that the courses are all taught by vetted staff. And once in a while, because of staffing transitions, the person who is coming in to take a role hasn't yet been vetted by the external institution. So there may be a year gap. So you can't, please do not take this document, print it out and staple it to your fridge. Number one, because staples won't go in your fridge. And two, because it'll change by the next year. It could change by the next year. So this is what we have currently available for courses as we know them next year. Ms. Eva, you look like you wanted to say something. No? Okay. All right, good. So this is a document that will be available to you and it'll help you decide which of our courses and if you have any questions. The column I think we do need to do a little bit of honor to is the CTE dual credit. It lives kind of in the same world as college and the high school. It's where a student, so let's just, so child development, ECED, fourth one up from the bottom, it's CTE dual credit through Bellevue College. It's a little bit like college and the high school insofar that at the very end of a course, if a student has a B or better, they can apply to receive that credit through Bellevue College using an external website called SIRS. You're not supposed to remember that, but there is a process that the child development teacher will take the student through to allow them to access that credit. And this is very specific in Washington state law. If they got a B, second letter of the alphabet, B as in boy, or better in that particular course. So it's a little bit of a different monkey, but not completely different. So anything else?
Okay, so here are the names of your counselors, the alphabet they cover, and their emails. In case you want to contact them or you weren't sure who your counselor was, although you just went to registration, so you probably are. But this is also the time when we're going to open it up to our Q&A and take some questions. So this is the time where down on the bottom of your screen, you see that Q&A, those letters Q&A and those little chat bubbles. That's where you want to put your questions, and I'm going to give you a minute to type some questions in there, and we'll go through and start answering those questions. Again, if you have questions that are really specific to your student and their schedule, it would be best to address that with your counselor. But if you have some global questions that would be helpful for everyone, or that we could help clarify something we just went over, then please enter those in the Q&A, and we will go from there.
I feel like I should have prepped with some Jeopardy music or something.
We need something.
We see a couple of questions popping in. Thank you so much. We'll get to them.
Hey,
All right.
Mr. Alderson, would you like me to facilitate by saying them out loud? I'm seeing that Dr. Fankhauser's not quite seeing them.
Yeah, in my Q&A thing, it says there are 0 questions. So for some reason, they're not popping up for me. So yeah, if you could read them out loud, that would be awesome. Thank you, Ms.
for helping.
Yep, you're welcome. So happy to help, and thank you for the questions that you're putting in the chat. That is helpful. And as you're listening, hopefully you'll gain some information from the questions being asked, but please feel free to also contribute questions as we move forward. So the first question this evening is, please clarify the 86% transfer rate for classes into college. Is there a case where you took a class but it was not transferable, the other 14%?
So I can take that because I worked with a lot of my students who have transferred their credit after high school. And I can tell you that with my classes, I'll just speak to mine. I teach AP Lang. I teach primarily our UW English course, which is our single senior course. And that is English 101 and English 102. I have not had a case yet where one of my students has not been able to transfer that credit, including to private schools. The one thing that we have run into is where we thought a credit should transfer in as English 102. There is one school in particular, not in the state, that wants to accept it as elective credit rather than 102. So it's possible that when you transfer the credit, it might transfer in differently than you think it's going to, but they have still been able to transfer that credit, all of the students that I've spoken to.
And when we were working with, so Michelle and I worked with Tim Stetter, who was the lead author of that research study. And when he was reporting the results, he specifically talked about two different cases. One was traditionally out-of-state colleges that are based on some type of religious philosophy, such as a BYU or an SVU or something like that. And the other was Harvard, which was interesting because Harvard would appreciate a student's transcript if they had AP or college in the high school. Like, it's a requirement to have those if you're going to be a Harvard-bound kid, and still Harvard would, how do I say this politely, declined to accept any of those transfer credits. So it is really institution dependent.
And very case by case specific. I have a child that went out of state college as well, and all of their credits did transfer. They were all college in the high school, took all AP classes, but chose to take them as college in the high school. So thank you for the great question. Hopefully that provides a good, thorough answer. Next question. So can a student do both AP and college in the high school classes, or do they have to pick one or the other? The example, though, is very important here. Thank you for providing it. Example is AP calculus, but college and high school sports ed. So I'll let you answer that, Mr. Alderson.
So maybe I should have read through the final part of the question. So I'm going to answer the first one. So can a student do both AP and college and high school classes? The answer is yes. You could be enrolled in UW English as a senior, which is a call in the high school class, and also enrolled in AP Psych as a senior. You're doing both classes that way. If the course is taught as both a college and the high school and an AP, you're just taking the course and you're making a decision as to one or the other of those, or both, which seems kind of silly. I'm going to pay the $97 for the AP test and the $220 for the college and the high school. Like, that doesn't make sense, but do what you got to do. We don't currently have a college and the high school sports ed, so I'm not sure about the specifics of that. Ms. Ivy, am I missing something?
No, I would agree that we don't have college and the high school sports ed, but I think the example that you're asking, Leah, is if you have a class that you want to take AP, but a different class you choose to take content-wise that is college and high school, yes, you can do that. So it's, if you're taking in your course load of 3 classes this year or 6 in the, how we've done it in the past, you can decide class by class which way you would like to allocate that towards AP or just college and the high school.
And Leah, if that didn't answer your question, pop it back in the Q&A, and we apologize, and we'll do a better job, I promise. Okay.
All right. And the next question is college and the high school credits versus Running Start program.
So I have a daughter who went to Running Start and also has college and high school credits. And so the significant differences are that college and high school is at the high school. It's on campus, you're with your teachers, and you have that level of support. And Running Start, you actually go to the college. You're a college student, you're there physically on campus. And there is also a different level of separation, and I'm going to talk to all the parents out there. As a parent, when your student goes to college, even if they're 16 and they're a Running Start student, you cannot communicate with the college, you cannot communicate with professors, there's no like checking grades, there's none of that. And so in terms of a supporting a student as a parent, it is more difficult. So you have to make sure that your student is works well independently, can manage their time, can organize themselves, and all of those things, because Running Start really is this very different beast. They do earn college credits. They've got their college transcript going. I even know students who earn a full AA when they graduate from high school. That's very possible to do, which is fantastic, but you have to be self-motivated and organized and all of those things in order to do that.
Thank you. And the next question is, can you do college and the high school now, even if the class has been completed?
So so that question is Michael Holmes. So Michael, if we're talking about a course this year that you or your student, well, assuming you're not a student, that you or your student just went ahead and completed, there's a very, 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 very small chance that you might be able to beg and plead with EVCC to go ahead and register for the course. I doubt that they would go ahead and let you. If it's from a prior year, the answer is absolutely heck to the no. And I'm seeing Dr. Fank shake her head that, yeah, give us some more details.
Well, Michael, if this is Alex, my student from the fall, again, I'm sorry, I'm still not seeing the questions, but since the class is over, they will not let you pay for the credit now. You can't do that now. But the classes you're in now, if you have any college and the high school classes now, be sure to pay attention to the deadlines and register when it's time to register. I know that's opening up next week for spring classes, so be sure that you do that.
Thank you. And so a follow-up question in that same context is, so college and the high school, do you get better placement and credits if you get an A, or does it just matter that you pass the class? So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I got, so yeah, so for college and the high school, getting an A doesn't do anything different for you than getting a B or a C. I honestly don't know if you got a D in the class and it's college and high school. So college and high school is starting your college transcript. So when you take that college transcript to another college and say, hey, look, I took English 101, they'll be like, yeah, bro, you got a D. I don't know that I've parsed through with the college that specific scenario. So kudos to you for giving us a question we haven't had before. Dr. Fank, any experience or thoughts around that?
No, just that you're right, that grade travels with you. So that is something that, thank you, I forgot to say during the presentation, because when you bring the credit in from college and the high school, you're also bringing the grade from the class. If you earn the credit through an AP exam, it's just the credit. There's no grade associated. So that's something to think about when you're starting your transcript with your college and the high school courses. You also are starting your grades, and there's very few exceptions to that. The exception is if you transfer in an entire AA. If you manage to earn your AA, then that just comes in as a whole degree, and the GPA isn't part of the deal. But for these individual classes, your grade follows you. So that is a consideration for sure.
Very good. I have a question that I'm going to answer in the chat, but I thought it was important because I've seen a little bit of a distinction, and that is, so is college and the high school and running start are separate? Yes, that is indeed true. College and the high school are classes that are in our planning guide that are approved and offered on our campus here at Lake Stevens High School. We don't do this, it doesn't vary year to year very often, but it can be based on the instructors that we have and what we're able to offer. It's just the same at other high school campuses around, depending on what they're able to offer. Running Start are classes that you actually enroll and take on the community college campus. So a next question on, did you want to add to that,
well,
Mr.?
So just I put it in the chat before, and then I brain farted and totally forgot. So directly after this webinar, our program coordinator, Tel Hernandez, our program coordinator for Running Start here at the high school, one of our counselors, is going to be hosting a webinar, an informational webinar on Running Start. So even if you are sitting here tonight as an incoming sophomore, or you just had other questions about Running Start, it starts at 7:30. I put the Zoom link in the chat. Maybe someone could let me know in the Q&A whether or not you saw it. Give me a thumbs up, or I'm not sure how that piece works, but you're welcome to join us on that webinar just to get some more information.
Okay, moving forward, I have great questions here. Hypothetically, can a student, I'll even answer this one, can a student get a D in a class and still be allowed to take the AP test? Absolutely, most certainly. It's up to the student. I don't know if you want to add to that or extend, Dr. Fankhauser, but you can. The taking of the test is independent of what grade you get in the class. Some kids are, my own child was not a very strong test taker, experienced some test anxiety, took a lot of AP classes, graduated with a lot of those on his transcript. However, he chose to pay and take them as college and the high school classes because the AP test does require testing. And so those things transferred very well to his out-of-state college, and it worked wonderful for him because he is able to complete his four-year degree in a bit shorter amount of time. So yeah, please know that for sometimes grading and test taking are two separate things. Some kids perform really well in their grade area and struggle with tests, or vice versa. So please know that that's an option you have. My daughter plans to take AP Psychology in college and high school in English. Will Washington universities only take one of these classes?
One of which, can you say that again? One of which classes?
AP Psychology and college and high school English.
Those are, yeah, no, those are two separate classes. She can take them both.
Absolutely able to take them both. So thank you for that question. And if you wanted to extend in that at all, Sylvia, please let us know. But you can take both and they both will count. Next question, if you were doing Running Start as well, what is the best option to take AP or college in the high school classes? So I will attempt to answer what I think is being asked. If you know, Mr. Alderson, go ahead, I think.
So, well, okay, so Running Start is only available for juniors and
Yeah.
seniors. So my guess, Gisela, is that you're asking about what do I do as a sophomore? Do I take the AP or the college and the high school? I don't know that it matters. The college and the high school begins a college transcript, which when you're applying to Running Start may give you a leg up. Leslie, did I kind of get where you're going?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think the key is that it's possible that we entered this question before we given the clear distinction between college and high school and Running Start. So just know that you don't typically take Running Start as well as college and the high school classes on high school campus. It's, you can, I suppose, but most circumstances for a student who chooses to go to Running Start as their option to access college classes early, they attend campus at the community college and take those classes. For students who want to remain on the high school campus but still have the opportunity to take college level coursework, you have the opportunity to do that through AP or college and the high school classes. Dr. Finkhauser?
Yeah, just a caveat, because my daughter did attend Lake Stevens High School for a year and a half, and she went to Running Start when she was there. And she attended one class on campus at Lake Stevens High School, and it was always her history class, because the history class is the hardest to find a correlating class to at Everett Community College. And for her, she did take an AP history class because that was the track she was on. So she did actually earn college and high school credit on Lake Stevens High School campus, and then go to Everett Community College and was in Running Start at the same time. So she earned all those credits at the same time, if that makes sense. I don't know that that's typical, but it's possible to do.
That's what made me pause, because I was going to answer that way. It is possible. It's not always common, but yeah. So the next question, one more question. It seems like it's pretty useless to take an AP class and not take the test to get the max total credits towards college. My son was told differently though, and took an AP class earlier this year without taking the test. I'm guessing there's no way to go back in the past to take the AP test. I will let you answer that, Mr. Alderson.
Yeah, so if we're talking last year, if we're talking last school year, 1920, the answer is yeah, we can't go back. But for this year, the AP test hasn't actually occurred. It doesn't occur until the second and third week of May. So if your student took an AP class this school year, and they didn't sign up for college in the high school, and let's say they haven't even paid for the AP test, we still have a little teeny tiny bit of a window between now and March 12th, I want to say. I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat, I hope. And if you could go ahead and email me with a reminder, and we'll see what we can get you hooked up with. I'll get the particular details from you, and then we'll see if we can go ahead and get a good answer for you.
Mr. Alderson, can I ask a different extension question? Because I think I would answer this differently with regard to if this question is based on last year. It is true that you can register and take an AP test at any time. You don't actually have to even take the class if you feel you have content knowledge specific to a class. It's not common that we see that happening. So I would answer the question like this, Leah. If this is a class that your son took last year, You could register to take an AP class this year. It's not common that we see that because of the gap in time between the class being taken and the test, but it is possible. Mr. Alderson is also accurate that if your son took it this school year in term 1 or term 2, we still have time. And so please do email him so he can get you the information on how to get registered. The AP tests are still upcoming for this school year.
Thank you. That was such a better answer. Thank you so much.
No, no worries. Okay, another great question. How do we pay for college in the high school? Do we get a bill? It's a great question.
So a couple of ways. If you're in a college and high school course right now, you should get information from your teacher, and the registration opens next week, and you pay Everett Community College directly. So there's a process to go through on the website to register as a student, and you sign up and pay through the website. You pay them. They don't send you a bill. You pay them directly. And the UW, it's the same thing. You pay the school directly. So they don't actually bill you. There's a process that you should be informed about. And if you haven't gotten that info, or it just got lost in your email, you could request it from your child's teacher as well, and they can forward it to you.
So what I do know is that you're one of the requirements for being a college and a high school instructor is to commit to communicating well with students and families around those opportunities. And I know that we're just in this world where email is just so overflowing right now. So if that skipped your student's radar or missed your radar through email, please, please, please just reach out and we'll make it right.
All right, and the next question, if we are doing Running Start as well, what is the best option to take? Oh, I think we actually answered that one. Sorry, I didn't click done. For incoming sophomores, is AP European History the only AP class available?
It's the only history class that's available as an AP, but there's at least one other, and it's late in the evening, and I should know, but we have AP Lang, which is the English class that would be there. Math, I don't believe an AP Calc would be appropriate for sophomores.
Mm-mm.
I can see a very small window of folks who would take AP Psych as a sophomore, but it has occurred once in my 6 years. So that's once out of 2,000 kids a year for 6 years. So it's a small chance. Thank, what else am I missing?
I think Lang and Euro are the two sophomore AP classes. It's the English and the history.
All right. And so that's all the questions that I see in the chat, folks. If anybody needs a little bit more time, we are happy to go ahead and stick around. Again, that Running Start informational session is occurring here in about a half an hour, going to be led by Sal Hernandez, our lead coordinator.
And I just wanted the opportunity to say thank you to the group joining us this evening. I am going to sign off. I get the fun luxury of being on KRKO tonight to speak about how amazing it is to be a Viking. So thank you, families and students that joined us. And thank you, Dr. Finkhauser and Mr. Alderson, for wonderful information night tonight. Looking forward to seeing you all real soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Are you playing music for us there, Fang?
The radio, sorry.
Yeah. It was a radio interview. That was great.
Leslie, you're welcome to step out if you need to. I don't want to distract you. Perfect. All right. So I was hoping that one of our guests would stick around. Kristen, are you still there? I know I used to know a Jake with your last name.
What's the last name?
Well, can I say it? Well, he's not a student anymore. I can. Jake Corcoran. So, Kristen, is Jake related to you at all? He's up in Alaska. What are you doing, Fang?
I'll show you in a minute.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll hear from Kristen, and maybe we won't. Anyways, Kristen, if you are related to Jake, tell him I said hey. He and I stalk each other on Facebook. Miss that kid. Everybody else, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and start removing people. That is not to be rude. That's so I just don't close out everybody. I'm going to stop recording, Fank,
Thank you.
if I can find the button. How about